Very good to see you this morning. Good morning. I'd like to say, first, may I bring your attention to the new windows on this side of the chapel. Right now, their beauty is kind of hiding behind the curtains, but it's still a work in progress, so we'll need to replace that wall as well and take out the old air conditioners and make the two walls virtually match. So it's looking better and better. Amen. Let's give God the praise and the glory. Secondly, for the sake of letting people know who we are and what we do here, I've asked Masataka to take some videos which we can put up on Facebook or at websites about our services here. Yesterday he filmed a meditation. He's also filming other things. He'll be filming today with his team that he's building. Can those guys who are working with Masataka stand up? Raise your hand. There's Masataka and a team of 3, so altogether 4. Wonderful things they're doing. If you don't want to be videotaped, then let me know. We can change things, but for now, I hope we can create some wonderful videos to let people know what we're doing. And thirdly, my last announcement before the sermon is that there's a charter meeting today. I want to remind everyone. Conrad let me know. I had forgotten. So right after the service, before we take the coffee break, as part the last of the announcements, we'll do a few things. We'll spend a few minutes there. So thank you to the council and those who've been working on the charter. Things are getting better in every way. Now, this Bible reading that we had today, it's from the book of Corinthians. There's 2 things I think I wanted to stress today, and one is teamwork, and the other is that God is guiding us. Both are absolutely necessary. The big picture, maybe we could say, is that after the life of Jesus was over, and he began to appear to the disciples. He came back, and there were many wonderful appearances. But he told them that you've got to spread this message to the ends of the earth. And he explained to them how to do those things. And what Paul and Apollos were doing, where they were working in one area kind of together, a little bit like a team, but maybe not quite at the same time. And there was a dispute amongst the disciples who were forming a church there. And so some were saying, I belong to Paul, and some were saying, I belong to Apollos. And so Paul was just saying, it's all the same. We're just workers in the field together. It's God who gives the increase. It's God who's doing these things, not really us. God's working through us as we give God the opportunity to do so. But let's not say we belong to this group or that group, because it's only God. So he was kind of trying to shame them, telling them, if you're this way, you're not really Christians yet. And some of the signs he was saying to become a Christian is when you want to do these things that he and Apollos were doing, which is spreading the gospel, either carrying the word to others or tithing or in some way manifesting your support for God's work. Now, having said that, I want to take you back in time a little bit. How many were here? I think it was about 1997 when we were asked by True Father and True Mother to share the blessing with 185 people. Can you raise your hands if you were part of that? at least or almost half, probably just about every family here. And do you remember that we were kind of stuck for a while, and then there was kind of a breakthrough here? We heard the story about son Willett in Kentucky and how she was accomplishing this. And we kind of grabbed the coattails, so to speak, and went in the same direction that she was going, and we changed kind of our thinking. And even though many of us in months of time, months of work, we had very few families that we gave the blessing to. And suddenly, with kind of a new way of looking at things, it got very exciting here. It was kind of like there was a fire in the Portland congregation. Do you remember? I remember with some of you driving to Central Oregon, and we were giving the blessing there. I remember I bumped into Jane and somebody that were together at some apartment complex in Portland. Two different teams had come there to work at the same time. It was wonderful to see these things happening. But it was son Willett who kind of broke through and showed us a way that we hadn't really considered before. And so she accelerated all that we're doing. I haven't heard from her since, to tell you the truth. She lives somewhere in Kentucky, but just a day or two ago, my wife saw something on Facebook. How many saw it about her? Did anybody? 1, 2, 3? So it's good that I share it with you today, because it very much pertains to what we're doing. Because that Great Commission to share with everyone the gospel, the Great Commission that Jesus gave us, is something that we're still a part of. It may have been a couple of thousand years since those days, but the world isn't restored and the kingdom of heaven isn't here. And as a result of that, we all are still in the process of working to see it accomplished. So in light of that, more recently, we were given a blessing from True Parents to expand our work from the level of our family up a couple of levels, from maybe a clan to a tribe or something like that. Anyway, the goal was to bless 430 couples and build a team that we can work with to help in this process of restoration, to bring the world back to God. So on Facebook, what my wife saw, and which I read too, is a very humble testimony from a very amazing couple. It's the same couple that helped us 20 years ago. Because this couple, maybe 17 years ago, they decided that they did not want to have regular, like 9-to-5 type jobs, because they wouldn't be able to work for the church like they wanted to. So they made a business, a floral business of some kind. And about 2 years later, the request for the living offering fund came. And they had just made enough in their business to do that. So with grateful hearts, they said they put all they had made into it, and they made that offering happily. They said after that, their work really began to take off, both in the business realm. They were being blessed with finances, and also they were being blessed because they found they were so much able to, one by one, bring people that they were meeting day by day to events. Maybe speaking tours or Sunday services or blessing festivals. They counted up and they realized there were over 600 people that they had brought. God was tremendously blessing this family. Then, about 2 years ago, this family had a realization, especially the wife, whose name is Sun. She's from Korea. She started to get dreams and visions where she felt true parents were calling her to do something more. And she was struggling because it was so hard to reach some people. They had very, very strong religious beliefs. And yet she felt she had to, so she didn't know how. And she began to receive these dreams and see Father and Mother in her dreams. And so she was wondering, how am I going to do the things that need to be done? Especially now, the world seems to be kind of falling apart. We look like we're right on the edge in so many ways. You even see it here in Portland now, right? With the protests the last few days. I heard a guy got shot recently as part of the struggles that are taking place in our community. It looks in many ways like in America we really are facing some extreme difficulties. I hope they get resolved soon, but I don't know how that will happen without God's blessing on our society. But anyway, getting back to her story, she also received a letter from a friend. And in this letter, her friend told her, please accomplish the 430 blessings. And she strongly challenged her. So in June of this year, feeling God's voice was in that letter and in her dreams, she started to do the same things that we've been doing here. With our little festivals. We're inviting people to come to receive the blessing. And she was doing that wherever she could, sometimes in her home, sometimes even in a place of business. There were many businesses where the employer began to respect what she was doing to the point where they received the blessing and then the employees received the blessing, much like Dario was doing at Wacom. So this family began to experience miracles. They went to one business where the owners were blessed, and their son happened to be there that day. He was not able to walk. I think that's what the story was. He was not able to walk. And Joe felt strongly that if he prayed for this young man, he really believed, if I pray for this young man right now, he can be healed. He felt that so strongly. And he told him, but he said to the young man, you've got to believe. How often are we stopped because we don't believe? He really believed. And he said, you have to believe. And if you do, I'll pray for you. And he did. And the next time he came back, he saw that young man and he was walking. And then another miracle happened. It was somebody who had cancer. And they told him, soon after they received the blessing from him, that the doctor said, my cancer's gone. I'm telling you these things because I feel like a wave is going to be coming soon. And all of us are going to experience these kinds of things. Just like it happened 20 years ago when we began to hear what was happening in Kentucky and picked up that tradition they had established there here. So to kind of let you know a little bit more about what she's doing, she has just this thing she calls 9 steps. It's kind of a funny thing because, we have 12-step programs. She has what she calls her 9-step system. And it's real easy. She has a little card that shows she's from the Family Federation with her photo of herself and her husband. She has another card with a photo of the founders, and she shows that to them. She has the holy wine, the holy water. It's just basic things that, any one of us can do. But she just has it systematized. So she goes through one by one. She does what she wants to do, and she records them. And she continues praying for them. She's already been praying for these people a lot. She does it because she really feels this is what God wants me to do with my life. That's why I'm here in America. It's to do this work. I didn't come here to become rich or anything else, but to do God's work. So she's constantly feeling her ancestors are supporting, the spirit world is supporting. All we have to do is believe and go out and give the blessing to these people. So since June, she says 25, 30 people per week she's giving the blessing to them. These are people she knows through her business. But sometimes those people that she blesses in the business invite her to come back to bless people she doesn't know. But she does that. So it's expanding, it's growing. It's kind of like that little parable that Paul was giving in what we read. They plant seeds and they water, and God gives the growth. It's blessed by God, so this is what's happening. I felt like it doesn't matter where you are, these things can happen. You know, before I was telling you about what happened in LA on the college campus with Mrs. Hiraki, I think her name is, and she's working with the team, a Codon team, I believe it is, and they're doing outreach to a lot of students at Pasadena Community College, and it's very, very successful. This is a different twist, isn't it? It's giving the blessing. She's not able to do that, Mrs. Hiraki, so much in LA because it's young students that she's doing outreach to. But I'm sharing this with you because I want us to think about new ways. Isn't that what those of you who were here the last holy day when I spoke, I talked to you about what we need to do here, I think, is find a new way. This is one approach that could be taken in order to change maybe what's taking place in our outreach if we feel it needs a change. I just want to bring these things to your attention so that you can think about it, pray about it, make decisions or choices. It's in your hands what you want to do. But I was amazed because she's actually done 434 now. And they're both a very humble couple. So I think they didn't even want to really talk about what they're doing. But once they reached this level, somebody asked them, well, what are you doing? And so he wrote a letter, and I think somebody else put it on Facebook or something like that. You know, this is not something that is top down, coming from headquarters, and it's something that started right at the grassroots, and it works. And, somebody in this nation has, I feel, on some level, just broken through. Now, not everybody has done all the 5 steps, and I don't want to go into those now because it takes too much time, but a lot of them have. So it's an amazing thing. I think we ought to find out more about it. If you're interested, I'm sure you can do so as easy as I can. But isn't it amazing? It is absolutely amazing. This is a miracle. God is working. I was often wondering, how come it's just Nepal? Because we hear so much coming out of Nepal. Or there's another country, the Philippines. Or, yeah. There's places where amazing things are truly happening. But even the people who were working there were saying, well, we don't know if this would work in the USA. Some of it's kind of culturally based. This will work in the USA. It is in the USA. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. I feel, once again, it's important to stress that we're not working alone. We're working as a team here. We're trying to beautify the chapel so we can bring our friends, co-workers, everyone here, and allow them to receive the benefits and the blessings that we feel God has to give them. And the outdoors too, Christine. It's step by step. We're working for this purpose so that people will come here more and more. Not that they wouldn't before, they did too. Just I'm trying to help us go to a higher level. That has always been our goal. As much as we can, we strive for the higher level. Why? So that God can bless more. This is God's business. It's giving the blessings that God has. So, as we become people who are more involved with that work, I believe our lives transform more and more. The final thing I'd like to say in closing is, back 20 years ago when we did what we did with the 185 people that we had a goal to reach out to, some of us were able to do that, and some finished it after the point of time that we kind of had for that condition. That's okay. Some are still working on it. That's okay. I feel that was kind of a symbol or an image of what was to come. I feel what Son and Joe are doing it's in substance. It's real. It's something that now that it's out there, it's on Facebook, it's going to go all over the country. And those who want to take this and go with it, I feel like it's an amazing opportunity, a great time to be doing these kinds of things. So I'm sure there'll be more, because I saw the comments on Facebook under the testimony that was put there. Many people said, Joe, we want to hear more. Tell us more. I had many questions when I read it. It's not real clear, like the process and the steps. The 9 steps are clear, but there's other things about it that it's a testimony. And I think he was trying to share something, but we need more. I would like to see a manual myself, because I feel like this is really good. So I'll leave that with you now and pray that your outreach, whatever style it is, whatever way you want to do it, can be tremendously blessed, like this family of the Willets in Georgetown, Kentucky. Georgetown is about 40 minutes east of Louisville, where the church center is. So they also don't live so close to the church, but they found a way to make things work. They do a lot of prayer and a lot of giving away the materials that are available, the autobiography, discs of Divine Principle, and also they recommend the site. Forgive me for my memory lapse, but I think it's DP Online or something like that, where you can get all kinds of good stuff these days. So it doesn't matter, really, in some sense, just about what part of the country you live in or where you are. God is making a way for each one of our families to be able to accomplish the goal of outreach that He's given to us as people who are meant to be team leaders or tribal leaders of big groups of people that can work together to help save this country and take it in the direction that it needs to go in. In some ways, it looks like more than ever before, in my lifetime anyway, it seems like it needs a new direction now. And it's not the political parties that are going to provide that direction. It's godly people. You and I, and working together as teams with God's blessing. So let me close in prayer, brothers and sisters. Heavenly Parent, Father God, Mother God, we're grateful to be able to be here this morning as your children. Wherever we come from, it doesn't matter. It's the direction that we're going in. And we want to be following the path that you provide for us to lead us back to you and back to the kingdom of heaven. And we pray that you'll give us power and wisdom and love, tremendous amounts of love, to care for others and guide them, that they can be a part of these last days and new days of restoration, where the kingdom can visibly become present here on the earth in the midst of us. Please guide each and every one of us, all our families, to receive your blessing, to work together in harmony, and to transform this world, to bring the kingdom of heaven in reality, in substance, to make it real. These are exciting times to live in. We thank you for all your guidance and blessing. We offer everything to you and pray in the name of blessed central families. Adieu.